What is up, everybody? It is the Monster Maverick Show, and thanks everybody for coming by. And today is, what is today? April 26th, 2022. We just finished up with Jim's stream here on Splinterlands TV, and after me, at the next hour, will be Dave L. 22. I actually don't know how to pronounce. Is it Davil? Is it Dave? I don't know, but he's up next after me. I'm your host, Neil McSpadden, and I am Splinterlands OG. This is the show where we talk about all things Splinterlands from a more of an investment type of perspective, rather than streaming, playing games or building collections or what have you. So this is more about the financial aspects, because I'm a financial guy. in my real life, I do taxes for a living, and tax advisory kind of work. So it lends itself well to that kind of stuff. I'm also one half of the team behind X Chaos. That was a launch pool that for buying Chaos Legion packs, and we collect airdrop value over time, and we distribute that to all of our X Chaos holders in the form of DEC every day. And SPS airdropper is saying, "Oh, do you do crypto taxes for people in the U.S.?" Yes. However, I don't do the bookkeeping portion of it, which is actually the hard part. So yeah, I do crypto taxes. Obviously, being in crypto heavily myself, I have a pretty good insight into how all that works. There's actually been some interesting developments over the last couple of months, but that's a whole different show. I used to have another show called the Tax Sherpa Stories. Tax Sherpa was the name of my company, and that was all about taxes and crypto and all kinds of stuff. But when I got sick last year, that all stopped, and I haven't felt the need to restart that one. But so I'm half the team behind X Chaos. I'm also half the team behind the Venari Syndicate, which is an investment fund in Splinterlands assets, where we raise money from our partners and we deploy those funds into the Splinterlands ecosystem, and mostly in the form of cards, and we rent them out, and cash flow goes back to our investors, and a portion for the management team. Why you might care about that, it is restricted to U.S. accredited investors only because of securities laws and all that jazz. However, if you bring one of those people to us, you get referral commissions over time, which is just a share of our management fees over time. So it can be a nice chunk of change for you if the stars align on that one. Where can we reach you for crypto tax info? You guys can email me. I'll just drop my email in the chat here. You can email neil@taxsherpa.com, and that is my work email, so you can send stuff there. And my admin reads it, so if you spam it, I don't care. She needs stuff to do anyway. But that's me. In the Splinterlands world, if you don't know me already, I've been in Splinterlands since day one. As far as I'm aware, I'm still the largest single person holding Splinterlands assets. There are now guilds and stuff that have more, but as far as single people, still number one, if we exclude Aggroed. Because I don't think he counts. Because it's a different thing. Because if you're an outsider, putting money into Splinterlands things, then there's a certain hesitancy, right? Aggroed obviously has inside information on whether or not to be bullish. So, and Aggroed's been buying stuff for, ever in Splinterlands, and as far as I'm aware, all the money he has made in Splinterlands has gone right back into buying more Splinterlands stuff. I don't know if that's literally true, but it kind of seems that way. So, but because he doesn't have that uncertainty, he knows what's going on. He's, CEO of the company. Then I don't think that's a fair comparison. So, excluding him, I think I still have the largest collection. And actually, that's going to come up today because there was some chatter in Discord over the last hour or so about Chaos Legion packs. And somebody asked me to actually look at how many people actually have Chaos Legion packs versus daily active users and that kind of thing. So we'll get into that a little bit later. What I do want to do is first I want to take a look at the Splinterlands ecosystem market valuation. So let's see if I remember my hotkeys. That is the right hotkey. No, that's the wrong hotkey. There we go. Spreadsheets time. They call me McSpreadsheets. So I took another snapshot this week of all Splinterlands stuff. Tokens, pack tokens, land tokens, totem tokens, DEC, SPS vouchers, and then the market values of all the different cards, and figured out a market cap of each one of those types of assets and comes up with a number. So 2 weeks ago was 253 million, a week ago was 289 million, and this week is 277. So a bit of a pullback there, which is unfortunate. Obviously, we want number go up all the time, but that is not reality, unfortunately. We are in a macro environment, and the macro environment is not great right now. So despite despite Twitter's stock, having a nice little pump with Elon Musk, probably buying it, the overall stock market has not been good over the last little while. Hey, Jarvy's here, watching live this time. Usually watching a 2x speed. Yeah, I watch stuff on like 1.5x or 2x pretty much all the time. I just don't have the patience to sit there but it's different when it's live. It's a different kind of experience, and that's okay for some reason. But if I'm just sitting there watching stuff, yeah, speed through, absolutely. So the macro environment, not great. Stocks are down. In fact, if we go over to my charts here. Here's the S&P. This is a daily chart. This is not like a minute chart. This is not good, right? For the last week, stocks have been down, down, down. We're actually going to be breaking some key support here momentarily if stocks continue to go down. Same thing in crypto. Crypto's down, and I think there's actually pretty good correlation with that. So Bitcoin's down, ETH is down, BNB is down. Everything's red. Everything's down 5% to plus, right? Because if your blue chip stuff, blue chip cryptos, your Bitcoin, your Ethereum, and whatever else is in the top 10 is down 5%, then all the high beta stuff, the issues that have more volatility are going to be down more, right? That's just how stuff works when it comes to volatility. So, right now we're seeing SPS is down 7%, and compared to Bitcoin being down 5% and Ethereum being down 5%. So, I mean, there's going to be an outlier here and there, but general markets move together. Now, I've had a thesis for a long time that because of the institutional involvement in crypto nowadays, that when the overall markets, the stock markets, the equities markets, when they decline, those institutions have to adjust their portfolios in order to meet margin demand in their primary lines. So if you have 100 million, S&P 500 index shares, and you have 20 million Bitcoin, US dollars worth of Bitcoin, then if that S&P position declines and you need to raise capital, you're going to sell the Bitcoin first, and then you're going to take that cash and supply the margin requirement on the other side. So that is the downside, I think, of having institutional involvement with crypto, is that the markets become more correlated and not less. And Michael's saying buy, maybe. It's at a decent support point, in this 37,000 range, but we could see, lower. We could see 34, we could see 30. Who knows? I think, overall, since last November, when we had the market top, then, things have been, well, you can see right here, things have been down. And we're getting these bounces in a range, but the range is still within a downward market. So, with that backdrop, it's not surprising to see, you know, Splinterlands assets decline as well. And from that November market peak, my own personal collection is down like 52%, which is kind of brutal, but but it is what it is. And you know you know eh, for all intents and purposes, my collection is not actually sellable. So I'm sort of stuck with it, whatever happens. What I have been doing is I've been looking for good in demand cards in the newer sets, in the Chaos Legion rewards, in the Chaos Legion main set, in order to identify those good rental opportunities, because that's primarily what I do. I rent out pretty much all my collection, and over time, historically, I was just buying whatever was there, because at first there was no game, and then there was a game, and then Jarvie can talk about how he over at Peak Monsters invented the first rental system, which was great, but pretty complicated, because we had these escrows, because there was this 7-day cooldown period where if a card was played by one account, it couldn't be played by another account for 7 days, and that created all kinds of friction in the rental market. That closed down after a while, and then Rentals 2.0 was created, and that's actually implemented in the game. And Peak Monsters is, I think, in my opinion, the best tool to date of managing your rentals. So it's a whole different ballgame nowadays. So all that is to say that the collection that I have from the alphas and the betas and the untamed, that was just me being a collector, and there was no way to optimize rentals before, but now there is. Now you can look at the data. You can say, okay, Scorch Fiend has, at level 3, has this kind of demand on this day in the season, and then you can track it, over the course of one season and over many seasons, because there's different dynamics that come into play. There's the internal season dynamics of beginning of season. The rental demand is lowest because people have gotten their rewards. There's no fight for the leaderboard yet, and then over the course of the season, it ramps up dramatically in the last couple days. So that's one element. But then another element is just the meta of the game. Different cards come into different demand as things in the meta change. As we get different airdrops, things change. One card might be more desirable, and then some new airdrop comes out, and that makes that card a lot less desirable. That kind of stuff happens. So you'll see shifts over time, and then there's the just the overall player demand changes. So we had an update, was it last week or the week before, that broke a lot of the bots, and rental demand plummeted. So those automated accounts need to have they create a lot of the demand, not all of it, but certainly a bunch of it, and that is actually what was discussed in the Discord earlier. So was it John's? It wasn't Jen's. It was somebody with a similar sounding name that I can't remember off the top of my head, and I have Discord minimized. Was talking about was talking about KYCing future purchases and cutting off the rest of the Chaos Legion set and all kinds of stuff, which is not going to happen. So if you want to go back to my show 2 weeks ago, I talked about bots and how they are a necessary consequence of being a true blockchain gaming ecosystem. So those are just, they're going to be with us no matter what, and that's not even a bad thing. And the team has always had the position that a programmatic interface with the game should is what it is, and should simply just not have any advantages over a human player. And that's an approach that I agree with. And they're not there yet. It's been an issue for years, but they are getting there. And one of the things I want to talk about today is the upcoming changes to rewards. which is going to kill a lot of bots. So we will hopefully get to that. But first, how many people are buying Chaos Legion packs? I don't know. So what I wanted to do was actually try to figure out how many people have bought Chaos Legion packs, and it's actually not an easy question to answer, because data collection is simply you would think being on a blockchain everything's recorded, that you could just look stuff up. But that's not actually how blockchains work. You have a state machine where a blockchain has a certain state, and then it has another state, and then it has another state. There's no index, so you have to create one if you want to actually get that kind of information. So Warrant says 5 to 10,000 per day. It seems lately. Number of packs, yes, but we're talking about number of accounts. How many accounts are actually buying Chaos Legion packs? And it gets a little muddy nowadays that Chaos Legion packs are included in rewards. That's going to bloat the number. But we'll do our best. So there's basically two sources three sources I'm going to look at. So one is Leodex. So Leodex is the Leo Finance interface for Hive Engine. It's actually kind of outdated, and they're working on a new version, so there's no continued updates for this version. But what it does have is it has this tokens list, and we get some nice information. So if we look over here at Chaos, we can bring up the info screen, and in this case, that's circulating supply 999,999. That's actually not helpful. So we do see that the most recent sale was 273, and these are the numbers I actually use in my spreadsheet that has the market cap. So you can see here, Chaos Legion 267 was the one I had, and it's gone up a little bit. So because the markets are priced in Hive, and Hive fluctuates, the US dollar is going to fluctuate even if no sale occurred. So 267, Hive probably went up a couple cents, and that went up. This last price went up as well. But the circulating supply here is not useful in this case because, well, that's just a kind of a placeholder number. So next step is to look at Peak Monsters. So Peak Monsters has a rich list screen in the Explorer. You can see top holders, and then you can look at the rich list for all different kinds of assets. Here up on the screen, I've got Chaos Legion packs, I've got vouchers, DEC, total SPS, and since Jarvie is here, maybe he can confirm something for me. So my understanding is that this player total 10K, and if I hover over it, I got 9675. From what I am assuming, that means that in this list there are 9,675 accounts that currently hold Chaos Legion packs, and so hopefully that is the proper interpretation of that. Now, one thing you have to watch out for on some of these lists is Splitterlands or Steam Monsters having having their own account, and maybe that should be included, maybe that shouldn't be included. But in this case, so we should probably exclude Splinterlands as the company account, and so we'd have, instead of 9,675, there's 9,674 in-game accounts holding Chaos Legion packs. So you can see, I'm number 7 here. I've got a ton. I bought a lot of Chaos Legion packs on the launch of Phase 3 with X Chaos. So that's still holding them in pack form. I've opened like 5,000, but I'm holding most of them in pack form because of the airdrop premium that we're getting through July for SPS purposes. Because the average, like with potions, the average expected DEC value, the collection value inside of a pack is like 193, and we're getting 300 airdrop points though. So for airdrop purposes, better to hold them in pack form, and then once the airdrop is over, then open them up, because you will get, depending on what you want to do, you could always resell the cards, or you could rent them out. I don't sell anything, I just rent. So the the rental value I'll get out of those is less than the 50% bump I get in SPS airdrop points. So for now, holding them in pack form, and once the airdrop is over, then I'll open them up, rent them out, do all the combining, that kind of stuff. Will there be a big pack opening party when the airdrop ends? Yeah, maybe. We could do it on stream. You want to see what opening 45,000 packs looks like? It's pretty tedious, actually. There was a guild that was opening a bunch on a stream a while ago. They ran into a maintenance window because it took so long. But I think, if I remember right, Peak Monsters has a new tool for bulk open packs. So you can do that, but you don't get the animations, right? So you don't get the rumbles and the gold foil, shiny sound. I don't know how you would describe that, but bulk open is certainly going to be faster. Are you going to open them all and not save it? Well, I always save at least one, right? So that's been my thing. It's been my jam for a while. I have at least one of everything. And actually, sometimes I find packs on other accounts that I have. Like I've got a .cards account that I found like 200 orbs on. So those are fun. So I have one dice, one untamed, one essence orb. I've got one beta, or two betas. I've got one alpha. I should have kept some more of those alphas. So the alpha prices are just crazy. In fact, if we go up here, we can see that the prices went down quite a bit from last week. We went from 340 to 246. I'm guessing somebody hit the bid on an alpha sale, but still $246 for something that originally cost $2. Open that alpha pack. So the problem with opening old packs is that chances are they hold 4 commons and 1 rare. And that's so not exciting. When you open masses, when you open 1,000 at a time, you're going to get those legendaries and the gold foils and everything. So that gets really exciting. But when you're opening just one pack, it's like, I get 4 commons, super. Because you're guaranteed at least 1 rare or better. But the chances are it's going to be like, skeleton assassin, and that's cool and all, but it just doesn't do it for you. The chances of getting like a gold foil lightning dragon are so small. It could happen. You could gamble. You could win, but no. I'm going to keep at least one of everything unopened forever. As far as part of my collection completionist. Only 45,000 packs. I went in hard, but that's actually been working out. I've been getting a lot of SPS out of it, so when Chaos Legion was first announced, and the dates were first announced, crypto was pumping. If we go back to that chart, right, it was in that October-November timeframe, and momentum was high, sentiment was really high, and there was a real possibility that we would see a day one sellout. When the general sale started, the phase 3 started. But by the time we actually got to phase 3, we were down here, right? And sentiment had turned, everything was cooled off, people were not as excited about crypto. And, as a result, we sold, I don't know, what was it, 4 million packs that first day, 3 million, something like that. It was a bunch. And, and X Chaos was a decent chunk of that. But markets are going to market, as Agrid likes to say. So we are in this, more drawn out period where people are saying it's like, well, we should just burn the rest of it and, and increase scarcity and all that kind of stuff. Crazy talk as far as I'm concerned. But I'm still pretty happy with my purchase, even though, individual pack prices are down to like 273. The SPS value I've gotten since holding them is, way more than made up for it. So I've been pretty happy with that. But to go back to where I started before all those tangents. So Peak Monster says that there's 9675 accounts in game holding Chaos Packs, but that's not the only place you can hold Chaos Packs. You can hold them on. I think you can hold them on Wax, but those accounts are not going to be tied to Hive accounts, so that's a little bit more nebulous. But then you can also hold them on Hive Engine, right? So the in the he.dtools.dev, this is the Hive Engine Explorer, you can look at a rich list of things held on Hive Engine. So here we've got Steam Monsters holding 781,000 packs. That's obviously the company account. And then, we've got Philippines DAO holding 30,000, Leo Bank holding 27,000, Rory Mustang 25,000. It goes on down, right? But there's a pagination here. So it does 50 results per page, and if we go to the last page, we see we're at 9982. So there's basically 10,000 accounts holding packs in game, and then there's another 10,000 accounts holding, or 10,000 accounts that held at one point Chaos Legion packs on Hive Engine. So you can see that these are 0, right? This first column is the number of packs that they're holding right now. But because of the way Hive Engine works, anybody who ever had any Chaos Legion packs is going to have a balance, a number here in this case. So Paraguana and Clev and Demi-M, all these people had a Chaos Legion pack at some point, right? They've interacted with packs in the past, and for figuring out where in the where the breaking point, like who still has a pack, well, that you got to kind of search for. So it would take a while to actually figure out how many currently have packs. But the current number I don't think is as important when we're trying to figure out how many people have interacted, how many people are involved, because that's really the question that was being asked. How many people are being involved with Chaos Legion packs? And it looks like it's about 20,000. Now, compared to 400,000 daily actives, actually, I haven't looked at daily actives recently. Floor, dashboard. Where are we for daily actives? That's transactions, battles, counts. So a little bit of an upswing there, 412,000 right now. So what conclusions can we draw from the fact that out of 412,000, roughly 20,000 have ever interacted with Chaos packs? Any way to figure out how many accounts have opened a pack? Not that I know of. You can look at collection power. Who has collection power and all that kind of stuff. But that's not as good a number, just because you can delegate collection power and all that kind of stuff. So maybe you could scrape the blockchain and figure out who open packs, do like a replay kind of thing, but that would be a whole lot of work. Would it be fair to assume that any silver player had at least one pack at some point? No, I don't think that would be fair at all, because there's so much rental activity. So like I said, a week or two ago, most of the bots broke because there was a game update and something in the APIs changed, and rental demand went down, but there's still plenty of rental demand. So it's not like that totally killed the market and there were no people anywhere renting anything. That's simply not the case. So, a lot of people are just renting cards, and they have the Summoner Spellbook, and that's it. And then they just rent everything else because if you're good, then it's profitable to do so still. And I know people have made posts about how to. What cards do you need in order to play at silver or bronze or gold or whatever? And in fact, I had a post way back last year when SPS, I think it was right before SPS came out, and the my whole thing was like how to make money in Splinterlands, with with very little money, and basically it was look at one of Yasek's statistics posts and rent those cards, and follow based on that. And that strategy still works, by the way. But obviously, my post is way outdated because there was no SPS. The whole rental market has evolved and changed. So if so, but I mean, packs gotten from chest rewards. Packs gotten from chest rewards. There's 1% chance. So, you know, I don't know if it's fair to say that every silver account by now has gotten one of those. I don't feel that that is true, but it'd be hard to say. Um, and if you bought a pack and opened it, then it would not be on your list here, right? Yeah, this is unopened packs. So that's another confounding variable that will not show up in the rich list in game. So if you had a pack, put it on Hive Engine, and then opened it, you would still show up with that zero balance because you wouldn't have the pack anymore, but you would have interacted in the past, so you're still on that list. But on the in-game list, it's only people who currently have unopened packs. So if you bought some, opened them all, then you're not going to show up in that list. So that is going to make that number of people who have interacted with packs larger than what we see there. And again, you need to, in order to get the real number, you have to recreate the history of the blockchain in order to see how many people bought and opened, and then there's more confounding variables where a group, a guild, or a clan, or whatever you want to call them. There's individual guilds in the game that are just collections of up to 30 players, and then there's the massive play to earn guilds out there like YGG, who are like a meta guild, guild of guilds, who are managing game assets. And different groups are going to have different structures. Some of them, all the cards will be owned centrally, and then they just delegate out to their players. Some of them are going to be each individual person opens them, and then they kind of rent back and forth from from that central entity. So people are going to do all kinds of things. But I think the overall point that a relative minority of accounts are actually buying packs, and I think that's true. So, most people, most accounts are simply just renting, and that's okay. Because, the interesting thing about that is fixing the change here dramatically. Because, the whole advantage, well, there's two advantages to botting right now. One, is there any way to see how many packs are being sold every day? I mean, you just watch the sale page and look at the numbers. That does include packs sent out in rewards. So it's not sale exactly, but it's packs that have been gone from Splinterlands to everybody else. But you can just watch this number every day and take snapshots, and that would be the way to do it. So botting has two advantages right now. One is just pure determination and repetitiveness. For a human player, it's very hard to reach a point where you are basically losing most of the time. Even if you had an account, so like my personal account that I'm playing with has silver level cards in it right now, and and I did that just because I wanted to play around with the Chaos Legion set. It's 100% Chaos Legion, no rewards. There might be a couple of rewards in there, but relatively little rewards. No Untamed, no Beta, no Alpha. Just because I wanted to learn the new set. So, and it's been I haven't played in the last few seasons, but it's a struggle. Getting up to silver where my cards are leveled. They're level 5 commons, level 4 rares. 3 epic and 2 legendary. And I have one of I think there's a couple cards I don't have in there, but for the most part I have everything. And it's tough. It's tough getting through the different matches, getting through bronze and then into silver, and then getting reset back to bronze, and doing that whole grind. Because if I played with like max level everything and having one of literally everything, then it basically stomp through not bronze and silver and up into gold. It starts to get a little bit where I have to pay attention. But a bot doesn't have to deal with that. That doesn't have that emotion, right? Because even if you had human players, if you just had 3 human players rotating on shifts, they could play just as much as a bot. But the hitting the wall aspect, a bot doesn't have those negative emotions dealing with that. So that's an advantage. And then the other advantage that bots have is that when you multi-account, and this can be person or bot actually, you have the ghost cards, you have the starter cards that come with the summoner spellbook, and that gives you a massive advantage to multi-account over focusing on a single account. Uh, yeah, so when I drop to bronze, I actually have to rent certain cards, or I can spend the whole probably the whole season in there. Yeah, it's rough. so so you definitely have to have the right cards in the right meta in order to make that all work. And for me, doing Chaos Legion only against the what will soon be the wild bracket is it's rough. Because just having the nature of just having one set amongst several, you're going to be missing stuff. So it's been that was a slog, and I haven't played for the last couple of seasons just because it's not really worth it. I've gotten what I wanted to out of it, and the cards are just kind of sitting there now, which makes me think I should pull those back and rent them out. But seems like work. I don't know. So what was that? I totally lost my train of thought there. So the advantages of the bots are the ability to persevere, and the starter cards, the ghost, cards that if you go over to, no, I don't want battle, I want cards. For playable, I have all these cards here that aren't mine, right? So, whenever you start a new account, you get access to all those things. And you don't have to buy them, but you still, yes, they're level 1s, but oftentimes level 1 is enough to get through into, silver 3 or silver 2, which is, if you actually graph out the rewards curve in terms of monetary value of chests and DEC earnings and all that kind of stuff versus League, the optimum place is actually in silver and not in gold and not in diamond or champion. But that is all fixing to change here soon. Now, we don't know exactly when, but the pending rewards change is going to make it so that these starter cards do not earn rewards, and that's a complicated thing because it's like, well, okay, so if you have a starter card in your lineup and you win, then your potential DEC earned from that match could be reduced by if it's 1 card out of 7, it's reduced by 1/7. Then fine. That part's fine. But then it's like, well, what about season rewards, right? So that's a very complicated thing to set up, and the I don't know how they're going to do it. But Yaba has been saying for a long time now that the next major update is going to do that. My guess is that when they launch the modern versus wild brackets or ladders, then they're going to launch the rewards change at the same time. That's just a guess, but it makes sense to have that overhaul all at the same time. At least it makes sense to me. Do I own many bots? I own a few. I've got I don't know the number, 100-ish bots that are in basically bronze 3 or bronze 1, silver 3 kind of range, and they are able to do that. I don't rent any cards because I just delegate my own cards, and I have plenty of collection power to do that. And they have not been doing well. I was actually checking on them the other day. I don't pay a whole lot of attention to them, but has not been going well. Their ratings, a lot of them are in bronze when they have the collection power in order to go up to silver. So I was thinking about messing with that, but when these rewards when these rewards changes go into effect, then you lose the benefit of the starter cards for reward purposes, which is the entire, you know, driving reason to have bots. Then, you know, what do those people have to do? So one, they can rent entire playable decks in order to have both the collection power and the battle winning power, strength of deck, I guess let's call it, to win. But that gets expensive in a hurry. So you know your profitability goes way down at that point. So at that point, my guess is that the incentives will be to actually invest in fewer higher powered accounts. And obviously that has been the goal all along, that, you know, Agro and Yeb have said they always want to incentivize doing more with one rather than spreading out, you know, in lower levels of many. So, you know, that was the drive behind instituting collection power in the first place. Because, you know, for all you people who have only experienced Splinterlands since collection power was a thing, before that, we had accounts that had like level 1 everything, and then you know, one or two, you know, good cards in the meta, like it might have a Jotun Zaku or something, getting all the way up into diamond sometimes. So you know, it was a real problem of you know, people without any investment, you know, just grinding through and battling up into the leagues and getting those higher season rewards. And then, you know, they're just, you know, selling everything. So it wasn't great for the ecosystem. So collection power was implemented in order to gatekeep that you had to have a certain strength of deck. But, you know, it's only in burn value. So it's problematic. It's not a perfect solution, but it did help quite a bit as far as making sure that those earning the season rewards and battle rewards were at least somewhat invested in the ecosystem. Because, you know, as Agrid always says, you know, actually I haven't heard him say this lately, but what he used to say was that Splinterlands is a combination of three things. It was proof of stake, which is your, you know, your cards, proof of skill, and proof of time, you know, where you have to have, you know, enough time in the game in order to understand the meta and to battle well and all that kind of stuff. So I wonder what happened to reward cards when that update goes live. Will rewards cards become more expensive because there will be less bot farming them, or will they be cheaper because a lot of bot owners will dump on the market? So my guess is that there's going to be a lot less rewards cards out there, you know, issued on a daily or season basis. So I think supply for sale is going to go way down. Obviously, the existing supply is going to still be there, but the new supply coming online is going to come down. And remember, the higher leagues, you know, the curve, the combination curve, you know, is pretty much exponential. So, you know, getting a level 10 common versus a level, you know, 8 common is like double, right? So, you know, you need way more cards in order to make a high level reward card. So I think that daily selling supply of rewards cards is going to go down. I think that demand for rewards cards is going to go up, and that means higher prices. But, you know, obviously, a lot of it's going to depend on the exact implementation of what happens and how all the account owners respond to those changes. So, you know, the market is dynamic. People respond to changes fairly quickly. And the Splinterlands ecosystem has always impressed me in terms of how dynamic it is. You know, even when we only had, you know, 4,000 players, you know, the adaptation of all the market participants was pretty quick and pretty efficient. So, you know, I expect that to just continue to be the case, you know, over time. You know, it's amazing what people do when there's no artificial restrictions to free market activity. So, yeah, I won't get too high on my horse about free markets, but you know, it is a positive, let's say. So you know, it's gonna the rewards update is going to be a major change for the Splinterlands ecosystem, and I expect that a lot of the weak hands, the people who are farming and just sell everything, are going to be dramatically reduced, and that means higher values for all the rest of us, which I'm a fan of. You know, so and not that selling is bad, but we do want people who are invested in the ecosystem, and because it's a virtuous cycle, right? So if if values are steady and growing, that attracts more people because high prices attract competition, and that those more people are going to bring more value into the ecosystem, which kind of raises the whole thing together. So by cutting out those people who are just dumping everything, I think that's going to be a great thing for the overall health of the game economy, and hopefully this number. If I get my macros right. No, I will learn my hotkeys one of these days. So hopefully these numbers, this alpha market value, chaos legion market value, will go up quite a bit, and we'll all be able to enjoy that. I hope they hurry up with that update. Yeah, me too. But any kind of development always takes longer than you expect and costs more than you project. And Splinterlands is certainly no exception to that. I wish it were, but everything's gonna. It feels like forever, right? But Splinterlands is only 4 years old, and even though I wanted my lands in Q4 of 21, so last Christmas, I wanted lands to be actually out and usable. Obviously, that's not happening, for a while. That was there was that whole SBS thing that broke the game as far as the servers and all that kind of stuff. So, they had to fix that first, and I understand all that. And they've been hiring people, and all that stuff is great. But just like everybody else, I want our stuff now. So, so what are you gonna do? What we're gonna do is wait. That's what we're gonna do. So whenever that update comes out, I'm looking forward to it. I think this ecosystem value chart. I actually didn't show you this, guys, before, but this is the same data, but just in graphical form. So I expect this number to get bigger and come up here. And for an investor like me, SPS Airdropper says no land for another year and a half. Maybe. I hope not. So what are we in? We're at the end of April of 2022. So supposedly we're going to get the land reveal here in the next. Actually, do we have a roadmap update? Not sure. We have these release notes I was going to talk about, but let's see. Roadmap. Where is? Ooh, why is that all weird? Okay, any changes? Doesn't. Okay. Let's see. I don't know why this is freaking out on my browser there. Let's look at the chart here. Oh, you couldn't even see it because I didn't have the right screen up. So, SPS validators, we talked about that last week. Wild and Modern Phase 2. Land Phase 1 here, Q3 2022. That's the reveal where we can just see everything, not usable. That's going to be a major thing, though, where, we go from fungible claims into non-fungible, actual plots. That's going to be a big thing. And then Land Phase 2, they have here Q1 23. So I think we can safely all agree that it's not going to be Q1 2023. It's probably going to be Q2, maybe Q3, hopefully. So that would be more like 1 year, not 1.5 years, like SPS Airdropper saying. But it could be, it could happen. So this is going to be huge, as I like to say. So is what it is. It's taken much longer than anybody wanted, but that's just how things go sometimes, unfortunately. But I do think once we get lands fully revealed, I think lands is a 10x from where it is now. People in the cryptoverse just love all things land. If you look at projects all across the map, um, land assets just tend to do very, very well. Now we're already up, 15x from mint, but I think we've got another 10x once it goes from where we are now to functional. A lot of that will be on land phase one, actually, because just being able to look at the map and say, okay, this one is mine, is a big thing. So, there are a couple caveats with that I've talked to Agro Diaba about many times. That the land plots have to be bridgeable and exchangeable to Ethereum. So we have Wax. Wax is great. We have the Atomic Hub marketplace, but the real money is on Ethereum. And even the other EVMs like Polygon and stuff that have like OpenSea support, it's still not the same. So the real trading needs to be on the Ethereum mainnet in order for that 10x number to come to fruition. And a big chunk of that is going to be land phase one, and then I think another chunk of it is going to be in land phase two. And then, just like with cards, there will be a whole ecosystem around them for, rentals and, resource mining and liquidity pools and all kinds of stuff. So it's going to be an exciting update, but it's a big project and obviously taken forever. But one thing I have learned, being, as old as I am, is that the years will pass, and they pass before you know it. So, when I was, 20 something and I was looking at investing and everything, I saw all these, personal finance type things. It's like, well, if you invest in this and you make, 8% a year, and then in 20 years, then or 40 years over a working lifetime, you'll have this much at the end. And, I looked at that. It's like, okay, the math makes sense. Historical patterns being what they are, we can have some degree of confidence that this is true, going into the future. And we've seen that has not played out exactly how people predicted back then. But overall, relatively true, let's say. But the time involved, to when I was like 23, was just way too much. So I didn't do any of that. And I was doing, what today is called YOLO kind of investing, where, where I'd put money into, penny stocks and over-the-counter stuff and all kinds of crazy things, and ended up losing a whole bunch of money back then. But had I just stuck the course, and I would have, had a whole lot more money now. So, and here I am 20 years later, and it's just like, wow, the time did pass, and now I'm here. And, had I followed that slow and steady plan, it would have actually worked out. Warren's asking, are you going to be getting any validators, and if so, when? Well, yes, I'm going to be getting validators. I don't know how many, when, probably on the pre-sale, if I can. If I can't, tranche one. I talked a bit about that last week. Actually, I don't think I mentioned what my personal plans were. We went through a lot of the math last week. So, yeah, I'm going to be getting some validators. It's a little bit tough of a purchase, simply because it's going to be another 6 months ish, before the validator licenses end up turning into SPS earnings and voucher earnings. But I don't have any doubt that they will turn into that. So, I'll have to make an assessment at that point as far as, what I think the current pricing is. Because, in the pre-sale, you got that 500 vouchers, and in the tranche one, you have the voucher discount. So you have two different things. And, there's going to be a break-even point where you have to say, it's like, well, it's 500 vouchers is too much because current market prices are whatever. And then the higher price in the future, the higher fixed price might actually end up being cheaper than the current price with the fixed plus the variable. So, Minjay saying if the land drops to $100, I might get a plot. I'm a bit stubborn for not picking it up at $10. Yeah, I mean, one of my largest regrets right now is that I didn't pick up a third region. What do I think voucher prices will be by the end of the airdrop? Well, it's going to depend on the validators because the validators are creating an arbitrage opportunity. I know, again, we talked about this last week, but the $3 voucher discount, as long as nodes are being bought, the $3 voucher discount gives an incentive to arbitrage the voucher price up to $3. And then that voucher discount grows through each tranche, and again, as long as validators are being purchased, that creates that arbitrage pressure. So at a certain point, that will stop, but we don't know really how much demand there is currently. So, and then how that lines up with the end of SPS airdrop, not sure exactly. Depends on how presale goes, because that's supposed to be coming out in a few weeks. So we might be in a position where we're still in tranche 1, maybe tranche 2 of validators, and the SPS airdrop is still ending. So it's up in the air, basically. But I do think, certainly at the, on release day, when we get into tranche 1, because I think presale is going to sell out quickly. But then, and then we'll end up consuming the liquid voucher supply, the vouchers from people who are willing to sell. And then once that's gone, everybody will have to go to the markets to buy up vouchers, and that will go up to that $3 level, and then the $5 level, and then whatever it was. At what point do you look into pulling liquidity from the DEC SPS pool? Well, I don't know. It depends on what happens. So, the airdrop incentive is ending in July, at the end of July, and will there be something to replace it? Maybe, maybe not. If not, then there's probably not a whole lot of point in maintaining a position in the DEC SPS pool. If there is an incentive, then you got to evaluate that incentive at that point. And do I think card prices will hit a floor around August? I tend to think so. The problem with airdrops are great. They attract a lot of attention. They blew up the game, which, in a good way. But, anytime somebody gets something for nothing, they value it less, right? And they're just willing to dump. And we've certainly seen that over the course of the last 10 months or so. So, as let me bring up my SPS inflation chart. So I've shown this many times, but this is where we are now. We're right at this corner as far as monthly inflation, because the private sale inflation is ending. Actually, I think tomorrow is the last day, and then so we're going to drop down, and then the airdrop will end, and then we're off into this this longer term horizon. In terms of inflation per month, we're cutting almost in half. So, that the people selling something for nothing is going to get dropped, this next month, and then dropped again at the end of the full SPS airdrop. So that downward pressure on the markets should evaporate once the full SPS airdrop is over, and that'll be, in that August timeframe. So I expect that the weak hands will have been flushed out, and the strong hands, people who hold on to stuff for years, even when they're underwater, like myself, will maintain, and the game will, the values will, pick up. On top of all this other stuff going on with the validators and the land and everything else. But that is all of our time for this week. So thanks everybody for coming by. And next up is Dave L22. And hope to see you guys next week.